Hey there, welcome back to Tennille Talks. So y'all, I tried to record this on the other phone that I have and the storage went out. I was cooking. Okay, so I'm just gonna start back over. Hey there, welcome back to Tennille Talks. I wanted to thank specifically like the donation readings, the mini readings. You guys are gonna get those all. You'll have them all by Sunday, okay? Thank you for booking those. I appreciate you. I love reading for you. It feels like I'm talking to a friend. There are times when I randomly get Cash Apps and PayPals, and it's like Christmas. It's like your birthday. You're never expecting it, and so I appreciate you, and I love the way you love me, and I love you back. So thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. All right, y'all, I'm going to jump into this reading. This reading is giving me the energy of like bad news. First of all, it's very late. It's kind of cold outside. Let me see what time it is. It is 12:23. Okay, that number may be significant. It is 12:23 right now at the time that I record this. All right, so one of the reasons why I know this is bad news, first of all, the first card I get is New Moon. Now, I've mentioned before that when the New Moon card comes out, I typically get excited because I'm always thinking like, well, what new thing can I look forward to? What new thing is going to happen, right? Like very childlike, like, you know? This New Moon is a little different. Now, there is someone y'all, it's death. It's death. The energy I get is death. This is where I started with my other reading. I watched a Netflix series. Many of us may have watched it. It was a few years back and it was called 13 Reasons Why. And it talked about a specific group of high school students. And one of the high school students that was like a part of I'm sorry, I feel like I gotta sneeze. There was one of the high school students that was a part of like a clique or a group, okay? Now this specific student, she was a female. This specific student ended her earthly life. She transitioned from earth, and she did this using her own free will. And so what she did leave behind were 13 tapes, and each of these tapes revealed a reason, a person, an incident, or an experience that kind of pushed her to make that decision. 13 reasons why I would want to essentially leave Earth. Now, what was done to you, right? What was done to you essentially was supposed to give you that same type of energy. It was supposed to give you 13 reasons why. Okay? And so when this new moon comes, two things are going to happen. One, as the divine being, the chosen, the royal, the king, the queen, you will get a tap on your shoulder. This tap that you get on your shoulder is going to awaken you. And when the Most High touches you, when Spirit comes to commune with you, you will be addressed by the character trait that you had to master while you were enduring this type of energy. Imagine that you have a vehicle and somebody has essentially carjacked you. Now, when they carjack you, they don't throw you out of the car and just drive off. They duct tape your mouth, they bind your hands together, they tie your feet together, and they throw you in the trunk of the car, right? And then they essentially drive the car as long as they can. Now, this is what has happened to you. So when I say that when the new moon comes, you will get a tap on the shoulder, you will awaken. It's almost like somebody will finally come and open the trunk of the car and you will be free. And when you are free, you are going to be able to have access to your car again. This is what has happened to your body. This is what has happened to your vessel. Somebody has thrown you, and this is spiritual. This is physically we're all walking around in our bodies living the versions of the life that we could, considering that something like this may have happened, right? But in the spirit, this was done to you. Your vessel was hijacked, carjacked, and you were just kind of bound, just sitting there. So the Most High comes to you on the new moon, March 29th, and taps you on the shoulder. But I almost kept hearing that when you get the tap, you will be called by the character trait that you divinely mastered, right? And so, for instance, the Most High may say, wake up, gentle one. Wake up, compassionate one. Wake up, forgiving one. Wake up, loving one. Wake up, empathetic one. Like whatever you had to be, whatever you had to become, in order to not allow this situation to be the 13th reason why, like whatever you were doing internally when you were in that trunk, that is how you will be addressed. It is a divine quality that you mustered up, and you didn't just pull pieces. Like you took it, you mastered it, and you made it your own, all while you were in bondage. Okay? And so the new moon is going to do two things. It is going to wake you up. It is going to open the trunk of the car. It is going to remove the duct tape. It's going to untie your hands, untie your feet. It is going to give you access to your own energy, your own vehicle, your own vessel. You will finally be able to be you. You will be free to be yourself. You will have access to your heart, mind, body, and soul. No more hitchhikers, no more carjacking, okay? When you were in the trunk of the car, that was the moment in time where essentially you had to be eye to eye with the demons within, right? And so everything happens for our good, and I often say even if it doesn't feel good. And so somebody stealing your energy, somebody bounding or binding you to something dark or demonic, it doesn't feel good. But as a divine being and as a chosen one, you are going to get through everything. And you are going to get out of the trunk of that car better than you were internally when you were first put in, when this event first happened, okay? Now, what I've learned about magic of all kinds, good or bad, whatever, right? All magic, it requires some type of spell, some intention, a practice, an incantation, right? Like it requires an output of energy. Now, I've learned that sometimes there are certain spells that are done on a new moon, and you kind of wait for the moon phases to pass. And by the full moon, whatever the intention of the spell was, you should kind of see it happening. You should be looking for it, okay? And so you should be looking to feel something energetically. You should feel a confidence, you should feel a spark, you should feel a safety. When I say you should feel a safety, it means within inside of yourself, you should feel safe enough to follow your own face, your own identity. You will be able to drive your car again without fear. Imagine what happens in the back of someone's mind that has been put in the trunk of a car. What are the type of things that you're thinking about? Where are they taking me? Right? Like you're afraid to cry because you don't want to trigger anybody. You don't want to trigger anything. It's like, is it okay to cook? Is it okay to? I said, is it okay to cook? I don't know why I said that. Is it okay to kick? Is it okay to scream? Like, think about all the things that would be going through your mind. It is in that moment. Now, for some of us, it wasn't a moment. It wasn't months. Like these 13 reasons why that were supposed to build up to a finale where you use your own hands, you use your own thoughts, like you use you to take you out. That was the point of this. That was the point of this, to lead you to that destination, to that outcome. And so being in the trunk of the car is essentially you being eye to eye with the demons within. This is warfare. This is where you battle. And people are actively giving you reasons why. But in the process of you going through the warfare, you are developing divine traits and divine characteristics. And so this new moon is bringing the energy of my favorite card. God help anyone who disrespects the queen. aka the king, okay? So, 2 bodies, 1 soul. Whoever decided to get in your vehicle and put you in the trunk of the car, this is going to be a new moon that marks a significant moment in their life. Now, I have the energy of death. And so for some, this could be a final ending. For others, there are things in their life that could end. Maybe it's their loved ones, right? Like, you never know how the energy is going to play out, which is why we should never take measures into our own hands. We should never retaliate. The Most High knows exactly what needs to be done in order to balance the scales, right? And so when you've been in the vehicle, when you've been walking around in your life, but you haven't been able to engage holistically with your energy and your talents and your gifts, like, you're in it, but you're not in it, right? You were facing demons. You were doing whatever you had to do, right? But whatever you did, you're still here. Nothing that was done to you was going to be a reason why, okay? God help anyone who disrespects the Queen. This event, this binding, this putting you in bondage was the worst thing that could have been done to you for the person or people that decided to do this. I have the energy of courthouse. Whenever this card comes up, I think of spiritual court, but I also think of legal, judicial court here on earth, right? So this is what happens on the new moon, okay? The trunk of the car opens for you. Let's go a little further. I have the energy, in good times, anyone can seem loving and kind. In good times, anyone can seem loving and kind. And so this situation that is about to happen on the new moon, you are going to awaken to your true character, right? Who you always knew you were, even if you couldn't access all parts of you. But the version of this person that was hiding in your energy, whoever bound themselves to you, this is a bad time for them. This is a bad day. This is a bad year. This is a bad every fucking thing. We will now be able to see who they really were, right? So now you get to see the true character of the person that did this. You couldn't see it before because they were bound to you. They were walking around in your royalty, right? All right, now let me go on. It says their prayers are useless, divine intervention, unforgiven, abomination. Now that card comes out with death. Okay, so the idea was they cross a boundary, right? What was done to you obviously had to cross a boundary. They cross a boundary, meaning they get in your vehicle. Step 1, no. Not only do they get in your vehicle, but they tie you up. Step 2, that means they lock up your emotional body. They cloud your mind. They do whatever they have to do to subdue you in the spirit. Whatever was done to you is about to backfire, right? This new moon, some people already understand that this is bringing this to them. Like, some people are already anticipating this, and they are anticipating it because you are here. You're here, right? Like, every reason that they gave you to perform the why, you didn't take. And so that can only mean one thing. It means that what was done to you, it wasn't enough to break you. And if you're still here, what does that mean for them? It is about to backfire. Plans failed, backlash, counteraction, and karma. They have to pay. They have to pay, and things must be balanced. Now, when you were in the trunk of the car, this was supposed to put you in an energetic space, right? Because you need these reasons. And so maybe this is almost like you being trolled, but you were being trolled in such a way where, like, there's no proof, there's no evidence, There's no remnants of what's happening because this was done in the spirit. And so if you even try to like articulate or emote what's happening, people are going to think that you are nuts, right? But this new moon is going to bring out the true psycho, the true crazy. You're finally going to see it happen. This says, this is what was supposed to happen when you were in the trunk of the car. Playing mind games with you. So we have mind games, lies, attempts to disempower you, manipulation, intimidate, knowing how to outwit, influence, control, narcissistic personality. And so this is describing the mental space of the person, and this is essentially what they wanted to do to you. Now, underneath this card is the Eight of Swords, right? When somebody wants to Eight of Swords you, they want to lock up your mind so that you feel like you are in prison, so that you feel like you are in jail, mentally. There's no thought that you can get to free yourself, right? Two bodies, one soul. They connect themselves to you, and then they torture you mentally. They terrorize you mentally, right? But this is happening also in the spirit. All of this was supposed to limit you. When we are talking about being limited, normally we are trapped in our ego, which means we are full of fear and we are full of illusions, right? If we are filled with that type of energy, then we can't move forward, backward, left, right. Like no direction seems like a good direction. Mental conflict, literally in prison, right? And if everything is mental and you don't have access to the full capacity of your mind, then how good are you for you? How much can you really do to help you if you can't use your greatest technology, if you can't use your greatest gift, right? So this is somebody torturing you, terrorizing you, and crippling you in a variety of ways, trying to create those 13 reasons why. So the death of this new moon, it marks an ending of this situation. If this has been energetically, like you can feel this, you know something has been happening even if you haven't had proof, right? This moon brings an ending to this experience. It gives you back your energy, but now it's time to balance. I have a card here. It says controlling, limiting forces. They taught you that you were insignificant and valueless to deter other forms of intelligence from tapping into you. And so to have a divine mind is a gift. It is an asset. If everything is mental and you are carrying around the mind of the Most High, then obviously that is a very hot commodity, right? Everybody wants to live there. It's like buying oceanfront property, right? It's the most expensive. It's the most luxurious. This is where people work all year just to go and have a vacation. And you're walking around with this type of mental space on a daily basis, on a Wednesday. Like just no reason at all, right? And so like this is your life. This is this is how you are consistently. This is your natural state of being. And so everybody wants a piece of your real estate. And so something very evil and wicked was done in order to bind you so that they could have access to your real estate. But it wasn't enough to bind you. Like, no, they went in again and again, because the outcome of this was supposed to be you using your free will against yourself. It was supposed to create such a war inside of you that you wanted to end the war, right? There is no prayer. There is no amount of candles that can be lit. There is nothing that can forgive this in the way that this person is seeking forgiveness. There is nothing. Like it has to end one way. It has to end one way. And the intention, right? If the intention was to give you the energy of 13 reasons why, well then I guess that has to be the outcome for them. And so maybe this person will be led to do this. right? Because that is the intention that they set. But they set this intention again and again and again. This was a plan. This was a consistent act. Now, the thing about your mind is if your mind is locked up, when we're talking about doing this so that nothing intelligent, so you've got this divine mind, you've got this incredible real estate, and so people that do this, they just want the devil to move in. The devil wants access to that mind. In no way does the devil want the Most High to be able to exist inside your mind and direct your thoughts, direct your heart, direct your spirit, your soul, your movements, right? We're talking about real estate. The greatest real estate on earth is in between your two ears, right? And so think about carrying around Christ consciousness. Think about the impact that you would have on the world, your society. Think about the footprint that you would leave on earth, right? And so this is what happens to divine and chosen beings. Everybody is after your real estate. So you get your real estate back, right? In the event you had squatters, the squatters gotta go, okay? The squatters gotta go. Now let's break it down a little further. So we have the energy of deluded attachments, and that is kind of believing that something false is true. Believing that something false is true. And so I don't think, actually I know, because any true sane person wouldn't be able to do this religiously and consistently, right? Like at some point there's got to be a certain level of conviction or remorse or regret, right? Like at some point. But this is coming out in the energy of somebody who is persistent. Now we have rich guy, 9 of coins, right? When we're talking about the coins in tarot, the most amount of coins you can have is the 10 of Pentacles, the 10 of coins. And so 9 of coins is essentially somebody who is self-sufficient. Everything that they have earned or gained, they have done it with their own hands. Like they've done this with their own merit. They haven't really needed help. So somebody that did this to you may be coming out as a rich guy. Now, how they got their money may have been because prior to living or hijacking or squatting in your divine real estate, like prior to that, maybe they had amassed wealth because this is just what they do. 2 bodies, 1 soul. They find a body that has a divine mind. They bind you in the spirit, and then they essentially walk around in all of the royalty that you don't have access to, all while you're in the back of the car fighting devils and demons, right? But the reality is you're really leveling up. You're gaining every divine weapon, every divine tool, every divine trait, every divine characteristic. Like that's what you were doing in the trunk. And so when the trunk opens, nobody expects you to be breathing. Nobody expects you to be coherent and lucid, right? And you come out like a fucking warrior, which can only mean one thing. They fucked up. This was the wrong one. You mean to tell me this is the wrong one, which was really the right one? And so there's somebody who saw you as a 9 of Pentacles. Now, it doesn't mean that you had to have 90K in the bank. Like it doesn't mean that you had to have a life of luxury. But the potential, the energy that you possess and carry. And if this is somebody that uses the energy of the devil, then it's almost like they can smell it, they can sense it. Even if you haven't physically tapped into it and like used it to build your life. It was picked up, it was sensed. And so there is a rich guy who sees you as a 9 of Pentacles. You are an opportunity, you are a lick, right? You are a new job. You are a new business trip. You're a new apartment, you're a new home. Like anything on earth that you can buy and have as an asset, you are the vehicle to get it, okay? You are coming out now. I do have an Adinkra symbol. This Adinkra symbol is UAC lights, technological advancement. And this talks about, specifically I'll use Ghana because most times Adinkra symbols, we connect them to Ghana. And so think about what Ghana was like before street lights, and then think about what Ghana was like after street lights. And so this Adinkra symbol talks about when technology is introduced to a society has no choice but to elevate, but to advance. And so this is how someone saw you, right? As a way to advance them. But your greatest technology is your mind. And so this is somebody that saw you as a 9 of Pentacles, but they saw you as an asset to elevate their own life, right? Now, everything that is inside of you is supposed to be used for Earth, right? For the collective. This was a heist. This was a heist. But the diluted attachments, right? This is where the psychosis comes in. The person who was a rich guy that did this, you were seen as an opportunity for them to come into wholeness with themselves, right? And so if somebody felt like, oh, I got the money, but I'm missing something, you would have been the missing piece, or this is how they saw you, as the missing piece, but you were really the last stop on the tour, okay? And so you are seen as somebody who they can use to become whole within self. And so essentially they want to energetically ground into you. If you think about the roots of a tree, this is somebody who wants to entangle and enmesh and lock into your roots. They want to become one with you, right? Because it gives them an opportunity on earth to be considered, you advance them. That's it. You are a level up. You are a come up because of this, right? And it's really because of what has access to this. Everybody doesn't use their mind in the same way. Everybody doesn't have integrity. Everybody is not humble, right? The way you use your mind is so righteous and so pure that it's almost like a bait. It's a trap that lures people in. But the people that are lured in and the people that take the bait are the people that need to see themselves, okay? They need to see themselves for who they are. And so if this is somebody who deluded attachments, they believe there's something they're not, right? And so this is giving me envy. This is giving me jealousy. Clarissa Shields, I talked about this before. She talked about how, like, when she finally made it, she would use her wealth for her family. She'd buy them anything. And she said it seemed like the more I gave them, the more they hated me. And she finally realized that they didn't want what she could give them. They wanted what she had. That is the energy of the rich guy. And so whoever this is in your life, a parent, a family member, a spouse, it doesn't matter. Anybody that did this to you energetically, this new moon is going to set off an event in their life. But you will wake up. You will wake up. The trunk is going to open for you. This person believed that they were sudden wealth. Like they believed that they were money until they met you, right? You didn't have to have a lot of money, but they believed that. And in order to maintain that belief in self, they needed you, right? But the way they needed you is the problem. The way they used you is a problem. Now, this is coming out as a friendship, right? And so this could have been a friend. It didn't have to be anything romantic, but this is somebody that maybe you were friendly to. I have the energy of calm, peace, tranquil, and quiet. Those could be some of the traits that you carry. And so a lot of times, if you're calm and quiet and peaceful, sometimes people attribute that to being weak or ignorant, or, a pushover. You look easy. You look easy. You look like an easy lick. You look like a come up. And so it was in their own psychosis that they decided that you were sudden wealth, and it was really because of your persona, how they perceived you. And so this person goes on a journey, they travel. In order to have this done, I think that this journey is really a mental journey, meaning like there were so many false things that they had to believe. There were so many false things that they had to tell themselves in order to keep this trip going, in order to keep this adventure going. Like they had to believe their own lies. And the worst lie you can tell is the lie that you tell to yourself. And this is somebody that lies so much that they believe their own lies. And so to stand opposite somebody that is dripping in wealth, you look like a lie. And the only way that they can convince themselves that they are who they are is to essentially snatch everything about you that represents wealth, because that's supposed to be me. Who do you think you are, right? Like this would be the mindset of this person. And so I have the energy of an ocean of suffering. This comes out with the 10 of Swords, and it comes out with duality. Now the duality card says, don't lose your vigilance. Do not forget about the dual nature of people. See, that was the mistake. You were seen as an opportunity, but this person didn't consider the duality of humanity. That just because I am perceived as calm, gentle, tranquil, quiet, and peaceful, it doesn't mean that I'm not a spiritual savage. Like this person never thought that you were a savage in the spirit, right? But the trunk of the car has to open on the new moon. It has to open on the new moon because of the seeds that they planted. The way, 10 of Swords, here's the thing, 10 of Swords is like the ultimate betrayal card, right? It's about getting stabbed in the back. In order for somebody to stab you in the back, they got to be close enough to you. So this is somebody that you trusted. This is somebody that you trusted so much so that you even turned your back, right? Never thinking, obviously, if you extended some type of friendship, never thinking that they would use swords, right? Right? And then 10 swords. This is again and again. And that's what I mean about them taking that journey. The entire time that you were in the trunk of the car, they were expecting you to face the devil and the demons within you, so that you would be so afraid to be yourself, to have this public space, right? But they were really walking with their demons the entire time they did this. You were walking with the Most High, all while bound to this type of energy. So they forgot about the dual nature of people, right? They misread you. And so they betray you again and again. And the idea is to leave you in an ocean of suffering. It says emotions, overwhelmed, hopeless, negativity, ignorance, powerless, mental illness, narcissist, grief, anger, weakness, struggles, anxiety, spiritual death, right? And so a spiritual death would essentially take your home off the market. Prime real estate, right? Like the Most High wants to be able to send you downloads, send you visions. You know, if you have sacred sight, if you can see, like whatever the gift is, it was supposed to take you off of the market. Lastly, I have the energy of love spell. Oh God, they went all in. Like they went all in. They used every trick that they could use, right? And so the love spell card, not only is it the love spell card, but underneath the love spell card is a false narrative. So here's the thing. A lot of times people will cast a spell, and then when the spell hits, then they start going around and talking. And every negative and nasty thing that they say about you is matching the intention that they set when they casted the spell, right? So not only did they 10 of Swords you to put you in an ocean of suffering, right? But then they cast a love spell because they want your heart to be tangled. I mentioned that In the last reading, right, they come for your heart and they come for your mind. So you're supposed to be in the Eight of Swords. You're supposed to be limited by fear, limited by illusions, right? You're supposed to be bound, and that's not good enough. Now they want your heart so that you can't call in, you can't reach out. Your mind creates the vision, and then your heart has to match the frequency of your mind in order to call it back in. And so they do the love spell, they lock up your mind, they lock up your heart, and then they go on an entire campaign talking about you, berating you, lying on you, like giving you some type of false image in order to match all the terror that they have done and brought to your doorstep. Right? And this was all about your emotions. It is about your emotions. I've heard if you can control your emotions, you can control your life. And so if this experience taught you nothing else, it taught you how to control your emotions during significant warfare. Like, this is the test of all tests. And again, 13 reasons why. This could have been spread out over a decade, a series of years. Like, it doesn't have to be something quick and short. But if there is any piece of your energy, or if there is any room inside of your real estate that you have not been able to unlock or access, you will be able to awaken to all of you, right? And so maybe they moved out, maybe you disconnected, maybe you put a boundary, but they left some of their belongings in the basement, or they left some things in the attic, right? No remnants of them can be inside of here, right? Because we're talking about making your mental space habitable for the Most High. Right? There is divine intelligence that wants to take up residence inside of you. And so the devil did a very good job, and the devil found the perfect candidate to come and essentially make your mind a place that the Most High can never reside, right? But the power of your heart, your soul, the integrity of your spirit, like nobody considered the duality of you, right? And a lot of times, people are so blinded by their own ego and jealousy and lust that they just would never consider that they could lose, right? And if you put in all of this effort, why would you lose, right? We always think that input is output. Input is output. And for this person to come up as a rich guy, I really believe that the way they earned their wealth prior to meeting you is by doing this exact thing. But nobody else was a king or a queen. Nobody else was a royal. And so you are the day of reckoning. This is D-Day. So if this has resonated with you, the new moon will awaken you, and it'll essentially put somebody else to sleep. I love y'all, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.